Good morning. This is Jacob Bolton, Associate Pastor of Christian Formation here at Westminster Presbyterian Church in Alexandria, Virginia. And we are right about the time that I and you are celebrating our 1 year together in covenantal relationship. I started to serve Westminster the first week of October last year. And now that we're about a year and 2 weeks into it, I just want to celebrate that with all of you as part of this morning's devotion. Something to honor and something that certainly brings me joy, hopefully you joy as well, during this time when it is difficult to find some joy in our lives. One of the ways that we were connected before I even knew that Westminster existed, and before you knew that there was a candidate named Jacob, is that Tom Toole was a pastor that I served under early in my career, senior pastor of Fifth Avenue Presbyterian Church, and happened to also have been a member of the youth group here at Westminster a long time ago. And one thing that I learned from Tom, and I think I've mentioned this in a few other devotions, is he had a saying. And that saying was how important it was to breathe in so that you can breathe out. We all need to breathe in so we can breathe out. And really what that means is we need to take care of ourselves, right? We need to spend time alone, spend time in prayer, spend time in worship, spend time, with self-care, so that we can then breathe out, give of ourselves to others, to our work, to our causes, to the church. And one thing that I am having a hard time doing right now is breathing in. And I am sure that many of you also are in the same boat. Now, it's not really because anything is bad. It's just because everything is all happening at the same time. Work and home and parenting and teaching our children and everything that we have in at the same time is happening not only in the same time, but at the same space. And so I want to spend this devotion encouraging everyone here to find the space, to give yourself the grace, to be creative about how to best take care of yourself. Not because we deserve it or because of any unique self-help type stuff, but because when we are in our best frame of mind, when we are in our best spiritual location, we then serve other people in a much more fruitful fashion, in a place coming from a deeper connection to the divine, and really just in a much healthier space. So I want everyone to try to figure out the ways to do that, not just today, but over the next week. You all have heard the saying about when you're getting on the airplane, you learn how to put your seatbelt on, the no smoking sign, all that stuff. And if you're traveling with a child and the oxygen masks come down, you put that oxygen mask on yourself first so that you can then better help and serve others. Now, what's interesting about this whole taking care of yourself, this whole breathe in so you can breathe out, is that Jesus did the exact same thing. And I have a handful of scriptural instances that I want to share with you all about when Jesus found time alone, or when Jesus found time to worship, when Jesus found time to pray, when Jesus found time himself to breathe in. And so we all know that Jesus regularly, worshiped on the Sabbath. Luke chapter 4, verse 16. Jesus went to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and on the Sabbath day went into the synagogue, as was his custom. His custom was to worship, to breathe in on the Sabbath every week. After one of the most famous miracle stories of Jesus, after the miraculous feeding of the 5,000, here we have from Matthew, Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowd. After Jesus had dismissed the crowd, he just fed 5,000. So this is a huge crowd that leaves. He went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. After being with over 5,000 people, Jesus finds the time to breathe in. Jesus then tries to figure out who the disciples will be and what their role will be. This is from Luke chapter 6. One of those days, Jesus went out to a mountainside to pray. He likes mountains. And spent the night praying there to God. When morning came, he called his disciples close to him and chose 12, whom he also designated as the apostles. This is a fun one right here. This is in Mark chapter 6, verse 30 to 32. This is after Jesus had been doing some intense ministry, right? So this is sort of Jesus saying, you know what? I've spent a lot of energy. I've breathed out for a while. Time to breathe in. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all that they had done and all that they had taught. And then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, Jesus said to them, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. This here comes from Mark again, chapter 7. Jesus left the place and went to the vicinity of Tyre, Tyre. He entered a house and did not want anyone to know it. And yet he could not keep his presence there a secret. Jesus is hiding from people because he wants to be able to have the opportunity to breathe in. And then finally, and we all know this, towards the end of Jesus' earthly life, in the garden, he strives to find the space and the privacy to pray. When he arrived on the Mount of Olives the night of his betrayal, this is from Luke, he withdrew about a stone's throw beyond them, knelt down, and prayed. Jesus was probably scared. He knew what was coming. And so he went off alone to pray. He went off alone to find time to breathe in. Now, not all of us need alone time to breathe in. Some of us actually have the opportunity to breathe in community. We are reformed, after all. But I can tell you that for a handful of people, the way that we are used to breathing in has changed, does not look the same, and might even be next to impossible, given the way that we are all currently living our lives in this COVID-19 pandemic. And so my hope and my prayer and my devotion is that we all do our best to live like Jesus and to find the times when we're tired, to do it routinely, when we want to get away from other people, when we want to celebrate an amazing thing that we've just experienced, when we know that there is a huge task that we're about to face, is to routinely find the space, find the time, be as creative as we need to be, to breathe in. We're called to bring God's beloved community here on earth. Part of the way that we live our faith lives together is by bringing to earth a world like it is in heaven. We do that best when we breathe in. Find the space, encourage one another, and let us pray together that we can all breathe in so that Westminster Presbyterian Church can best breathe out. Much love, friends. Hold fast.